something feels off, and you can't quite explain it. Not in a dramatic way, not in a movie scene kind of way, but subtle, quiet, like something is shifting behind the scenes of your life, and you're only catching fragments of it. And here's the uncomfortable thought most people ignore. What if your soulmate isn't missing? What if they're struggling, and somehow, it's connected to you? Stay with me, because this isn't some fantasy idea. There's actual psychology behind why two people who are deeply aligned can feel each other's emotional states, even before they meet, or before anything becomes obvious. You've probably had a moment like this, where you suddenly feel heavy for no reason. Your mood drops, your focus slips, and nothing in your environment explains it. You check your phone, scroll a bit, try to distract yourself, but it lingers. Now here's where it gets interesting. Studies on emotional contagion show that humans subconsciously absorb emotional signals, even indirect ones, not just from people around them, but from imagined connections, expectations, and deep internal projections. In other words, your mind can prepare you for someone before they enter your life. But why would that feel like trouble? Because real connection isn't always peaceful at first. It disrupts, it exposes, it forces change, and if your soulmate is going through something intense, emotionally, mentally, there's a strange possibility that you're picking up echoes of that process. Think about this for a second. Why do some people enter your life when you're at your worst, not your best? It's not random. There's a pattern most guys miss. Deep attraction often forms not when everything is perfect, but when both people are in a state of internal conflict. Transition. And here's the twist. That trouble your soulmate is in might actually be the exact thing shaping them into the person who can connect with you. But it doesn't stop there. You might already be affecting them too. Yeah, even without realizing it. Let me explain. There's something called psychological priming. When your brain starts forming an image of a future partner based on your desires, experiences, even your loneliness, it begins to filter reality differently. You act slightly different. You notice different things. You even change your tone when talking to people. Maybe you didn't notice this, but lately, your standards shifted a bit. Conversations that used to excite you feel empty. You're less tolerant of surface-level connections. You want something deeper, but you can't fully explain why. That's not accidental. That's your brain aligning with something, or someone, you haven't fully met yet. Now here's where it gets uncomfortable. If your soulmate is in trouble, emotionally overwhelmed, confused, dealing with past baggage, then the version of you they're about to meet needs to be ready for that reality. Not idealized, not perfect, real. And most people fail here. They chase the idea of love, but they're not prepared for the complexity of the person attached to it. So what happens? They meet, there's attraction, tension, something feels intense, but it falls apart because neither side understands what's actually happening beneath the surface. But you're different, or at least you're trying to be. Because you're here paying attention to something most people scroll past. Let me ask you something honestly. Have you ever felt drawn to someone before you even had a reason? No clear logic? Just a pull. That's not always romantic destiny. Sometimes it's your brain recognizing patterns that match your internal blueprint. And here's the part people don't like hearing. If your soulmate is struggling right now, it doesn't mean you're supposed to save them. It means you're supposed to understand them. There's a difference. Saving creates pressure. Understanding creates connection. And connection, real connection, is what actually changes people. But wait, here's where it flips again. What if the trouble isn't just on their side? What if it's also you? Not in a negative way, but in a growth way. Because the truth is, people don't meet their soulmate when they're fully complete. They meet them when they're ready to confront what's incomplete. That anxiety you feel sometimes, that overthinking, that weird sense that something big is coming, it might not be random. It might be preparation. Preparation for a person who's going to challenge you, not just comfort you. And most guys aren't ready for that. They want peace without depth, attraction without responsibility, connection without emotional risk. But that's not how this works. If your soulmate is in trouble, emotionally, mentally, then the connection you're moving toward isn't going to be simple. It's going to test you. Your patience, your awareness, your ability to read between the lines. Because here's a subtle detail most people overlook. The strongest connections often start with confusion. Mixed signals, intense eye contact, followed by distance. Deep conversations, then silence. Not because they're playing games, but because both people are trying to understand something they've never felt before. And if you react emotionally, impulsively, you break the process. But if you observe, if you stay grounded, if you actually see what's happening instead of rushing it, that's where things shift. That's where real attraction builds. So next time you feel that unexplained emotional weight, that strange pull, that sense that something is happening beneath the surface, don't ignore it. But don't romanticize it either. Just pay attention. Because whether you believe in soulmates or not, human psychology is clear about one thing. We don't connect randomly. There are patterns, signals, timing. And sometimes, the person you're meant to meet is going through something right now that's shaping the exact version of them you're about to encounter. The question is, will you recognize it when it happens, or will you treat it like every other interaction and miss what was actually different? Think about that for a moment. And once you start noticing these patterns in real life, the shifts in behavior, the hidden signals, the subtle emotional timing, you won't see people the same way again.